9:02, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Thank you all for coming and participating in this meeting. So we're going to start out opening prayer by Buster Green, and Hayden's going to lead us in the pledge.
Father, as we come before thee today and just grateful to thee, grateful for all of our blessings, Father, and grateful for green grass growing and for rains coming up on the land and in just helping make the lands beautiful and help the wildlife and livestock. And we just thank thee for those blessings, Father, and we pray that if it is thy will, that those rains might continue, the tanks will fill, and that we'll be able to grow feed to sustain the wildlife and livestock this winter. We're grateful for everyone that's here today, and we pray that thy Spirit will be here with us in the meeting, that we might be able to have a good meeting, that it will benefit the county, and that we will be blessed with wisdom in making good decisions as we discuss things. And just grateful for the public that we have here in Catron County and the feedback and concerns that people have. And we're grateful for where we live, Father. Grateful for thy blessings, and we open this meeting up in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We need to approve the agenda. Does anybody have any changes they would like to see on the agenda, Buster, Hayden?
I'd like to make a suggestion, Madam Chair. If we could move action items G and H that require the sheriff's input to just underneath approval of the minutes, that will allow those involved to make the court date that they're scheduled for.
Okay. Didn't have any changes? Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. You guys had a chance to look over the minutes. Do I have approval for the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adrian, can that be for both meetings?
You can.
So we're done with that. Okay, so we're gonna go item G and H. Is it sheriff?
For the sheriff letter, he's told me he was gonna be about 10 minutes late.
Well, we moved him up. Okay. Could I recommend when he does show that we immediately address DNA?
Wait. Certainly, that's up to the chair. You can skip that item and come back to it.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Excuse me. Do I have a motion, Buster?
Yes,
Motion.
I so motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna move into public comment. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The county commission is not able to act on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their names for the record. So I will ask, we're gonna, further down on the agenda, we're gonna be discussing the uranium, and there's a presentation. Like if there's some other things that pertain to the agenda that's going to be discussed further on, let's wait till that's on the agenda. But just for regular public comment, I'll give you 3 minutes, and you will have 3 minutes as well if there's something on the agenda later on that pertains to your public comment, so we're not hearing it twice. So
if I may go first, I am Amber Pereto, and I've got to get back to the clinic. So I just wanted to make my public comment first, and then I will join from Zoom. I am here today to remind this body that you are stewards of Catron County. The decisions you make carry long-term consequences for the land, the people, and the future we leave behind. With that responsibility comes the obligation to act in the best interest of the entire community, not just yourselves, your friends, or your families. I'm asking you to take a clear and responsible stand by creating a resolution or ordinance that makes uranium mining impossible in this county. Our land, our water, and our health are too important to gamble with. The community expects you to protect Catron County from industries that pose irreversible harm. I also urge you to reconsider any plan to cash out the county's CD investments. That is not a responsible financial move. The savings account provides a safer and more appropriate option without sacrificing long-term stability. Fiscal stewardship requires caution, not impulsive decisions. Please understand that the citizens of Catron County are watching closely. We are paying attention to how you lead, how you manage our resources, and whether your choices reflect the needs of the community rather than personal interests. We expect you to make decisions that honor your duty to this county and to safeguard its future. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have anybody else have public comment?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Marisa Lazier and I'm from Gattle. Dear commissioners, thank you for having us here. I recently read about the Trauma Basin Watershed Protection. And here in Catron County, we may be fighting the biggest uranium project in our own backyard. As you may have heard, NovaCorp wants to put in not 15, but 37 exploration wells at 600 to 1,000 feet into our aquifer. They will be using easy mud or Performatrol 930, which are synthetic polymers pumped into the ground during exploration. What does this mean? One, this means the drilling mud binds directly to radioactive radium and uranium. If this mud leaks or is stored in unlined surfaces, it creates a concentrated zone of radioactive waste on the surface. NovaCorp is asking for unlined pits. Two, the groundwater risk. Synthetic polymers chemically bind to the uranium and radium ions. This allows the radioactive particles to bypass natural soil filters and travel much farther into clean drinking water aquifers than they would naturally. The Dowdle Mountains is where Agnes Morley lived and wrote No Life for Lady. Located on US 60 and 6A is a historical plaque noting her life here. 6A is where they plan to put these exploration wells. Also, the family grave markers are right across where they plan to explore it. Instead of us remembering our history, this would become the largest current uranium mining proposal in New Mexico. This area in question is heavily treed, canopied with rock outcropping. Between Sawtooth and the Dowdle Mountains is an area where we have the darkest of skies, camp, ride our horses, people hunt here in the fall, such as GMB 13. It encompasses some of the most natural lands in the state. Large ranches surround this area with towns such as Dowdle and Catron. There is no place like it in New Mexico. Just recently, a Canadian mining company held a public hearing near Gallup as it seeks a permit from the New Mexico Environmental Department to discharge. They plan on using a mining method known as ISR to access roughly 10 million pounds of uranium contained in sandstone formations in the underground aquifer. This chemical solution composed of water, oxygen, and either carbon monoxide or sodium bicarbonate to dissolve uranium underground. The leftover water is then discharged back into the aquifer. It is a closed loop system. They said. There won't be any other discharges. The water just circulates through the formation to extract the uranium. However, the New Mexico DOJ has petitioned to intervene, argues that ISR has never been proven to restore groundwater supplies to the pre-mining state, and that no technology yet exists to do so. These are tough times, and we must do all we can to preserve our way of life. Let's save Agnes Morley's legacy. Please help us fight this oncoming beast. Thank you. Thank you.
Do I have anyone else? Really?
Good morning. Carolyn Nelson, Alma. I think it would be nice you have a picture of Vegas Lane, what it's gonna look like when it's finished. It would be nice to have that, somewhere at the post office or something, so people can see. I talked with somebody who, they got a grant for a ditch. And the ditch ended up being like 10 feet wide and 6 feet. And then, they can't irrigate out of it now, they got it. And asked the lady, I said, when you saw it happening, were you able to stop it? And she said, no, it was too late. So we have a lot of, it would be nice to have that for the public. Not to stop it, but let's make corrections.
Thank you. Do you have anyone else for public comment?
Yes, in regard to my name is Gwen Holman, in regard to the Vegas Lane project. I think that this whole entire conundrum could have been avoided if we had had a meeting of the public before it began, and everyone could have put their input in on how they felt this would affect our community. I would like to remind you that you are here because you were voted into office, and it is not for you to make the decisions, but to represent the wishes and desire of the community. And I don't think there is anyone on that street who would oppose having the pavement. It is the issue with all of the concrete sidewalks and curbs. There are not any sidewalks in the entire community of Glenwood, Alma, Pleasanton, that whole area. With the exception, there is one little bit of sidewalk that is over the Whitewater Creek Bridge, and that is so that people can walk across the bridge. Only on one side. We don't need sidewalks on that street. There is no foot traffic. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Do you have anyone else for public comment?
All right. I'm Joanne Blount from Glenwood, Vegas Lane. Here's pictures. This is what we're looking at. This is what we're looking at. Right? That's what we're going to be instead of having greenery, grasses, trees, and kind of a paved road. That's where we're going with this. I think it affects the quality of life for my husband and I and the residents on Vegas Lane. We like the dark skies. We like to sit out and look at the trees. Every month we do that for a long time. This is all going to change that. I love Catron County. I absolutely hate what's going on. I've been here 38 years. I'm not a local yet, but someday I might make it. I don't know. I hope that's right. But I do appreciate the old timers because the old timers made ditches, berms, culverts. They made Vegas Lane possible because they had the smarts to make it, to handle the drainage themselves without almost a $2 million grant that won't do it anyway because most of the drainage is on private land. That's the issue. Right now, we've already withstood a 1,000-year flood. This design is for a 25-year flood. We've already done it. But once you pave it, once you pave the parking lot, now we might start having issues with our emergency shelter, which is a community center in case of flooding from Whitewater. So this project is pretty, it's out of keeping with the area. It's too big in scope. Paving the road, whatever. But another thing I have to say is, I guess it's appropriate, is when you condemn and use eminent domain on one piece of property, we're in a chain. Everybody else is now condemned as well, whether they approve the project or not. Everybody's condemned because once that property is taken by the government, we're done. It's a done deal. And that's a risk. Everybody in this county faces that if the government turns on them that way. I hate it because I love this county. I worked for the county for many years doing all this PMP and stuff like that. Larry's worked for the county, which, by the way, Larry has worked 31 years cleaning out the culvert and the ditch in front of our house. If that was the county's, they need to pay him $1,000 a year, so that'd be 31,000. I don't want to make light of it, but I am very serious about it. So I'm sorry this is going on. I love the people here. I love this. It's breaking my heart, literally. So thank you for your time, and I'm sorry about it. And also, I don't know if this is appropriate, but I do have IPRA requests. I don't know if I submit that now. Okay. And so, there you go. I did it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Do I have anyone else?
Morning, Commissioners, and thank you. My name is Luke Koenig, and I'm actually a Grant County resident, but I work on mining issues around the state. So I'm here to just briefly talk more about the uranium mining.
What's the last name again?
Koenig, Koenig, first name Luke. I guess I'm just here to say that there are steps that the county commission can take, real tangible steps to address the mining issue. As another woman mentioned this morning, just recently, Senators Lujan and Heinrich and Representative Fernandez introduced legislation for a countywide uranium-specific mining ban for pretty much the entirety of Rio Arriba County. It's my understanding that was at the request of the commissioners. And at the same time, right now, Rio Arriba County is working on not only a resolution to oppose the gamma radiate or uranium mine up there, but they're also working on an ordinance that would ban that mine specifically, that empowers the county sheriff to enforce that. So those are just some kind of tangible steps that the county commission could take to really send a strong signal to the company that they're not wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have anybody else?
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to speak regarding the proposed elimination of a position in the treasurer's office.
Can you state your name
My
for the
name is
record?
Kimberly Popper. I am the Catron County Treasurer. The reason being cited for the elimination of the position is that the treasurer's office did not convert to the Tyler software system. However, that decision was made in May of 2025 by the former treasurer, Rick Barnes, before I took office. What concerns me is the staffing reduction is being proposed approximately 15 months after the decision was made. During those 15 months, staffing was not reduced. In fact, additional employees were hired after that decision not to convert to Tyler was already made. Since that time, the workload of the treasurer's office has increased substantially. The number of tax bills has grown from approximately 9,000 to 13,000, which is a 45% increase in workload. Our work has not decreased, it has increased. In July, the commission reviewed and approved my office budget, including funding for all current positions. I respectfully question what has changed since then that would justify eliminating a funded position from an office that is handling significantly more work than before. This does not seem to be budgetary, as there are 3 new county positions being voted on this agenda alone, along with raises and new hires within the last 3 months. I am also concerned about the time. Treasurer's office is preparing for the delinquent tax auction on August 27th. This is one of our most important responsibilities, and we must work with the state. At the same time, the chief deputy and I have previously scheduled an affiliate meeting outside of the county. Another employee has approved leave, and we're preparing for an upcoming audit. Moving staff at this critical moment places taxpayer services at risk and could force operational disruptions at a time when residents need assistance with taxes, payments, and auction-related questions. My responsibility as treasurer is to ensure that the people of Catron County receive accurate, timely, and professional service. I do not believe that eliminating this position serves that goal. I respectfully ask the commission to reconsider this proposal. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'd like to leave you with this. The question is not whether the software decision was made 15 months ago, The question is whether the treasurer's office can continue to meet its responsibilities and statutory responsibilities today with fewer employees, more work, tax auction in 2 weeks, and an audit at the end of the month. The answer is no. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public? Okay, we're gonna, since there's the sheriff's here, we're gonna move the item G and H on the agenda, and so I was hoping you could
Here, I got it.
walk, if I know you have to go for.
There was also one other one that the. Let's do it. Good area.
Morning, Sheriff.
Morning, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Got a court date, I hear. We'll see if we can't get you there.
It's 12:05.
Agreeing without moving item A, is that something that we can still discuss? You have the replacement vehicle as well, sheriff's office.
You should move that up. That up next time. Make a motion.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, that we add item A with G and H, up to the, current place in the agenda.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so let's start with item A, approval of purchasing replacement vehicle for total cost.
Okay, the vehicle will be reimbursed somewhat with, the insurance claim. I haven't heard the exact numbers yet.
We don't have the exact numbers.
But there's always some that they don't pay. And that money, we have the LEPF funds from the state, which are set aside for vehicle purchases, so we'll use that money to pay the difference in between the insurance reimbursement and actually the vehicle. So,
And you have the money, you have plenty of money in your
Yeah.
fund for that.
yes, there will be, it usually comes in September,
Yes, he does have plenty of funds.
but we have some rollover last year.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll motion we approve the replacement vehicle with its total.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're gonna move on to item G. Establishment of an IPRA administrator position within the sheriff's office with dual oversight by the commission office. Okay, so before you today is a proposal for a new position. As everybody knows, we've just been inundated, both our office and the sheriff's office, with IPRAs, right? And a lot of them are very time consuming. The sheriff's and his staff spend probably a total of 25-30 hours a week responding to them. Lou spends probably 15-20 hours a week responding on behalf of the records custodian, right? So they have to gather the information, we have to send it out. So the proposal is actually a joint position between the commission office and the sheriff's department, because that person will need to have access to his files and his records. So we need some dual oversight. So
Can I ask you a question? Will it cover the rest of the county too? Anyone else that has an IMPR request?
I am the records custodian for you guys. You would still have to research the request, right? But then as you have been, you'd be sending it to us and we'd send out the letter. So we remain the contact.
Okay.
You guys would have to search your own records. But like Lou has been providing oversight with some of your IPRAs
Yes.
that come through, that would not change.
Okay.
So my understanding is we have been exposed to lawsuits for inaccurately replying to IPRAs. And frankly, it's at no fault of the county. The IPRA request may come in 2 or 3 times. We will respond. And if we find additional information when we respond the second time, then we have a lawsuit for the first IPRA, because that information wasn't implied there. This wasn't included there. this is my understanding. So with AI generated IPRAs that are coming in, the county is definitely at risk. And the suits that they're winning against us are valued more than what this position is going to pay. So this is very cheap insurance for the county. And it's not just Catron County that's fighting this battle. You look at, the last I heard, Bernalillo County has 9 full-time IPRA responders. So the way I look at it, it's a new position that offers us insurance against IPRA, and I think it's very important.
So initially, when I crafted this proposal, it was, anticipated as a part-time, but after further discussion with the sheriff, I see this.
And maybe it's quickly, not really.
Okay, 6 and the zipper that we are just handed in this week alone.
Almost every day we get one. A lot of them from out of state, and all they're doing is looking for a lawsuit. They want every report we have for the last 6 months on certain offenses. They may or may not exist. We have to go through and look. We have to go through and get body cam, phone calls, catalogs, and it just goes. Before that was done, we were hit for 2 more. It's almost every day, and again, they're just looking for lawsuits. We get them from inmates in prison who are hoping they don't get fulfilled. That way they have commissary.
$42,000 worth of commissary budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a business for them.
It's very sad that a good thing, because like everybody wants the transparency, but it's become a weapon. When it's so costly to the counties and the states and on and on.
And from what I understand, the way we have written job description, if for some reason we have a slow IPRA week, then we can apply other things to that position. And it'll benefit the sheriff's department.
And I doubt it's going to be very. We have the money in our budget. We have lost somewhere.
The county and the sheriff's department will be funding, jointly funding this position.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
A second?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
The next one is the establishment of a DWI transport deputy position.
Okay, that position has already been approved several years ago. What we're adding to it is the DWI part of it, which is a grant funded position. It goes through the state. It will be a position that is totally separate from the sheriff's office. So our transport officer, when he does those DWI, not hearing, but when he has DWI meetings, it will be on the day when he is not associated with the sheriff's office. He will not be in the sheriff's office. He will not be in Minnesota. He will handle those totally separate. Those days will be set up by him for what days, he can have those meetings. If it's once a week, we don't have that many DWI cases that need to be handling or whatever would be handling, but it's not a full-time job. It's probably 1 day a week, 1 day every 2 weeks, plus 4 hearings. That the DWI part of it program, again, the state's funded. He would maybe perhaps gives the presentation to the school at the fair on drinking driving.
So I spoke with DFA, who oversees the DWI coordinator positions for all the counties across New Mexico. They are receptive to this model. So we see this as being a good partnership with the transport deputy DWI coordinator. The DWI coordinator is grant funded through the state from the alcohol tax revenue. We had it at roughly 25 hours a week, and then that person went for other employment. So this is not, it was not budgeted for a full-time position previously. So putting it as a part-time position maintaining that part-time position within the sheriff's department, co-locating them, having one individual do it. We hope to provide a space close by the sheriff's department, but separate, that, you know, though anybody that does have a DUI offense has to come in and speak with that individual. They have a, you know, a quiet location to do that. So you guys are thinking of, instead of having it at the trailer where it was at, moving it down? That's, I'm not 100% sure. We haven't discussed the physical location. It needs to be separate from the sheriff's department just for patient confidentiality. So maintaining that office near our office there's some definite benefits to that. So I think it really depends on the space needs for the IPRA position. And, you know, because that person's also going to have to be in proximity to the sheriff. So.
Right. Well, I
Great.
Yeah, I want to commend both of you for being able to come up with that and roll it so that all the costs aren't burdened by the county. And also, I think it's brilliant because if they violate their DWI deal, they'll already know the person that will be transporting.
I'd also like to point out that that transport position was already in the budget position. So now if he's working 1 day a week doing the DWI, that's 1 day a week, we don't have to pay out of our budget, which would go right back to the position we talked about. It would cover all our position, but you know, they covered.
Yes, sir.
I think it's great. Do I have or do we have any more discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're done. Next on the agenda is the election summary. The commission's gonna convene a good.
Or you have to.
I think I need to make a motion, right?
Yeah.
I make the motion that we exit the commission meeting and reconvene as the county canvassing board.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I set before you the totals on the election. You wouldn't hand that to them, so. It didn't pass, but just by a little bit. It's not a lot.
The totals that show the final numbers.
Ready?
There's the first at 101.
There. These are the different precincts that were covered, and that's the amount of votes for each one.
And what was opposed and what was in favor. Next
It was
page.
a school bond
There you
question.
go. Yeah,
His name was the
got
152,
okay.
but he just found it.
Okay.
And now we just motion to,
Approve it.
Motion to approve the canvas.
yeah,
Is there, just to make sure there were no irregularities or anything that they need to investigate, as the body?
No.
Okay.
There was some that came in that were not delivered because people don't live there anymore. I think there was, 12 of them?
Yeah.
that were returned.
Yes,
Yeah.
because of lack of address or something. Sometimes people, they move and then they don't change their address with the election board. They'll do it with the mail, but they won't do it with the election board. So, yeah, it was good. There was, I think we had one ballot show up yesterday after it was over. And otherwise, people actually brought them into us. It was really good.
Okay.
They were asking us to put it on this general election, but we can't do that. The state said that it hasn't been patched yet. We can do that. It'll have to be done in the regular local elections. But otherwise, it did not pass.
Looks like there was just one district that was in favor. Okay.
So with the information given by the clerk, I motion to approve the results.
Excellent work, Madam Clerk. I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And could I get you guys to sign these and so we can have one for the school, one for us?
Also here. Do I,
Yeah.
do I sign here?
Mm-hmm. The chair signs the others.
No, here. Instead of the chair.
It was a good turnout. It really was. They told us that they usually don't get but like 20% turnout, and we had a whole lot better than that. So it was good. It just needs to be more people, the whole county instead of just the partial part of it.
And now they're.
Yeah, too.
Oh, yeah, are we ready to come out of canvassing board?
Is that all we needed tonight?
That's all you needed.
I'll make a motion, we, exit canvassing board and reconvene into commission meeting. Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna move into department and agency reports. And we'll start with the commissioner reports. One of you all would like to go first.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. There's a lot going on in the county and we're gonna find out, more today with the presentation given by Mrs. Knapp and stuff. And, so I attended the meeting in Pie Town. There's gonna be subsequent meetings and hopefully we'll have those dates posted for anybody to be interested to attend Dattle. And where else, Kathy, is there a planned meeting besides Dattle?
That was 99% confirmed to be Tuesday, the 25th at the gymnasium in the elementary school. And then Barbara's gonna probably get at the meeting in tomorrow. And Magdalena about 2 weeks after that. Give everybody time to plan, other information or questions, and that's where we're at.
Yes, ma'am. All right, no, and so besides that, the uranium line going on, discuss multiple road issues with, different people, and then we, have obtained a new, well, it's an old pit site, but a new pit site for the York Ranch Road to gain material off of, which will benefit that road. And then I just want to briefly comment on the IPR deal, like I want to publicly state the amount of work that it is causing the employees to do. And we are inundated with a bunch of frivolous IPRs hoping to sue the county. And I hope that eventually there will be legislation, not to limit transparency or anything like that, but to close some loopholes where the county isn't spending 40% of its time on IPRs and they're able to do the jobs that they've been either elected or hired to do. And that is my report.
Lester,
What?
I've got 3 pages of stuff here. I'm going to try to condense it. And again, everybody needs to know when we do our commissioner's report, this is the one time we can talk to each other legally. So there's quite a bit of looking at each other and we ask each other questions. The businesses in Glenwood have come to me and they would like to support a NMOVA rally. NMOVA, New Mexico Association of Off-Highway Vehicles. And they're getting a lot of support for the rallies from Representative Terrasas, Crystal Diamond, Gabe Ramos, And the idea is to allow for off-highway vehicles on roads within Glenwood. Much of Glenwood's economy is based on recreation. The recreationists use off-highway vehicles. So I'm supporting that rally. I hope I can make it there, and I hope the other two commissioners can make it there also. I'll be sure to communicate through Deb when the date is. And it apparently is going to have a pretty nice turnout, and I'd like to see the commissioners support that. And it ultimately is going to be meaningful in your districts also, right? Glenwood Park Board. I've met with them a number of times last month. We are looking closely at the construction plans that we have to improve the Glenwood Park. We don't have time here. I won't get into all of the facets, but it's essentially a remodel to bring it up to standards for safety. We do have two contractors that are very interested in submitting bids to improve the park. There's a lot of budgeted funding for park improvement, and we're ready to go. The Glenwood Park Board has been chomping at the bit for a couple of years now, and because of internal funding issues, we haven't been able to turn them loose. But it looks like there's a path forward and we're all excited about that. The CLLA. I know most of you are here for the mining interest, but I need to tell you the CLLA has made some huge advancements that were announced this month. And it's in cooperation with New Mexico Cattle Growers Association and Wildlife Services. The wolf management program is actually being shifted to be more friendly to those people that are frankly being abused by the wolves. There's been a change in the standard of evidence for subcutaneous hemorrhaging is no longer required. And so everybody knows, in order to confirm a wolf kill, you have to see hemorrhaging under the skin in a bite dimension that matched the wolves. Well, here in our country, you may not find a carcass for 5 days. In fact, the truth is you only find 1 out of 5 losses in carcasses. So subcutaneous hemorrhaging is still very important to identify if it's wolf kill, but it's no longer mandatory. You can look at the site and determine if it was a wolf kill. We've also gained additional funding for indirect damages. That's very important in conflict avoidance. These are aspects that these are actions the ranchers can take to actually support the wolf program, particularly in conflict avoidance. And finally, we no longer are required to have regional wildlife services review the standards, or not the standards, but the evidence that we find on wolf kills. There is one other thing I want to point out. There are statements going around on social media that I so desperately want to reply to, but I've learned you don't reply to opposition on social media. There's no way anybody is going to see your position. But you know, there's confusion. They believe that the CLLA runs out of money to pay for depredations. And the CLLA works aggressively in our state legislation session to make sure that we have the money. And indeed, the way it looks and the amount of depredations that we are receiving, we're funded through 2028. And that gives us another 2 legislation sessions to talk about the required money. So the CLLA really doesn't have a funding issue right now. There's also some concerns that applications are being prioritized. And I can assure you they are not. I'm involved in the CLLA meetings. All the applications are addressed on an equal basis. There is no priority. You don't get priority based on your position. There's also a concern that there are a specific number of ranchers that receive the most money from the CLLA. Well, these ranchers are the ones that are being hammered by the wolves. We don't get applications from ranchers south of Glenwood, and that's because the wolves have not yet moved into that area. The only way a rancher receives a great deal of money is because that rancher is receiving a great deal of wolf interaction. And I'll say again that the money that they're receiving does in no way make up for their losses. You tell me how a mama cow that knows where to go to feed and water, and she's eaten to death by wolves, you're not going to go to an auction house and replace that mama cow. You're going to have to live with that mama cow to teach her where the food and water is. That's additional spending that can't be recovered. So,
Can I add something to
yes, please.
And the other thing that a lot of people don't know is there is no board members that are making up any payment that do anything to do with CLA. U.S. Fish and Wildlife are the ones that make the schedule. They look at a certain ranch, they see how many wolf packs are on there, they see how many cattle they've had, they see how many losses they've had, and then they come up with the formula. They submit that to the board of the CLA, and that's how they are paid on. It's not any of the board members sitting there making up who gets what. The other thing on the depredations themselves, there is Dr. Gifford. There's 3 vets that talk every quarter, and they come up with the average market of what a mama cow, a bull, and a yearling or a calf are worth, and they submit that to the CLA, and that is what they pay off of.
To add one statement, that is Texas A&M, Oklahoma State University, and New Mexico State University. There is no tie to CLLA for those vets.
There's not, and
no tie to the commission.
no tie to the commissioners either.
No.
And thank you, Hayden, for mentioning that.
Well, it goes deeper than that. It's impossible to give anybody preferential treatment from the CLLA. We are overseeing every one of our documents, every one of our meetings. We have New Mexico Department of Agriculture in attendance, and Fish and Wildlife Services. These are the people that are overseeing the CLLA. They audit us, and not just financially. Their attorneys audit the CLLA. It's a wonderful financial arm that the state and the federal government has helped us generate to, in some way, allow our ranchers to recover to some degree from this forced introduction of the wolves. So I'm very proud to be part of the CLLA, and I encourage anybody to attend our meetings and see the approaches that we take. And I truly wish there was some way we could allow our ranchers to fully recover because of the wolves. And financial recovering is not the case. It goes much, much deeper than that. Your pets are being eaten to death. You know these mama cows that you walk out and they're gone. You don't know where they are. You see the cattle that are being ran and they're not being bred. They're under stress. They're losing weight. These are all the unintended consequences. So I've got much more on this CLLA that I could share, but I know I'm taking too much time. Please, if anybody has questions about how the CLLA interacts with our ranchers, call me. I'll be available.
Right before you go, can I add something?
Sure.
I know that, like, I try to be brief and do not include everything in my commissioner's report and stuff. And I want to commend my fellow commissioners because they're not braggadocious or anything either. And part of the reason why the evidentiary standards got changed is because of our visits to Washington and because of Tom Patterson. So thank Tom Patterson. But that's why that got done. They aren't going to come up here and say that that's the reason why that got done. But I just want you to know that these commissioners have the county and the producers here best interest in heart. And people don't understand what we're going through. Okay? I just want to share a brief thing. So on Sunday, I had a kill. I had a steer calf kill. I called Scooter McDonald, who's on the Wildlife Services. I told him, Scooter, I had a kill. And he said, the earliest I can get there is tomorrow morning, Buster. And because I didn't go stay all night on that kill, we came back the next morning. There was 5 bones left. And because of the bird tracks and because of all the coyote tracks that had been there on top of it, they were unable to confirm that kill. And so I'm out $2,500 right there. But I'm telling you that that's an experience that every single producer in this county goes through. So I'm grateful for what the CLLA does because it mitigates partial of that. But I'm guaranteeing that it is not anywhere near the real cost of what's happening. But I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Now, and I will say, we could do a survey, and I can promise you, I know this without even hearing, but every single rancher that's impacted by wolves would not trade just having our cattle safe, no wolves there, or the money that they're getting, because we are not even close to 100% compensated. And whenever you really dig into it, I've lived it night after night, kids bawling, horses dead. Like we're living a nightmare. And so to be attacked and saying like, well, then they put these wolves out on us. They've changed the way we've lived and what we've grown up for generations, and now attack us because we're getting a little bit of money back is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
I just want to throw in there how important recreation is to Catron County. And I remember when they introduced the wolves, they said, hey, you're going to have sightseers. They're all going to flow into Catron County and they're going to look at the wolves. And you're going to get a huge economic impact benefit.
Yeah, I'd like to know if Jake's is benefiting, like if these people are coming by.
Oh, yeah, really. On my face.
Yes, so, you know, there has been the propaganda that was shared with us on the wolves has proven, not just in this state, but in every other state, not to be accurate. And it's a huge burden. You think, oh, shoot, it's just the ranchers that are suffering. You've all heard of trickle down. There's a massive trickle down theory. And if we could have wolf viewing sites and put up hotels on that site and have restaurants there, that'd be wonderful. But it's not happening. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, sorry, wasn't trying to be disrespectful. There's people texting in and saying that the audio isn't working on Zoom, so we're trying to get that. But that's part of the difficulties of trying to.
Is it working now, or do we go on?
It's not working. I had to move over here so I could hear you all.
Okay.
They can hear you a little bit better now, but when you take a break, I'll reset the out.
Okay.
Because I think that's the issue.
Okay, so I'll move into my commissioner report. I guess I could just speak with yesterday, which SBA came. The New Mexico Council of Guides, Kerry Romero, actually set the meeting up with SBA to come to Catron County. And it was more of a private meeting. They wanted to hear the economic losses and what some businesses and outfitters are are seeing since the wolf began. And so there was quite a few outfitters that attended. There was a few ranchers. Gail Armstrong attended. We had some representation from Crystal Brantley's office and Gabe Ramos. A lot of good input, a lot of good numbers. Terry Romero with Council of Guides knows the numbers well. And what we've seen in the meeting that was discussed, there is now from this, they're starting to cut tags. They've cut all the youth tags, yellow tags this year, which that affects the hunter that now is not gonna hunt the kids, but it affects that they cut 1,200 tags right here in Catron County. And so you take 1,200 tags cut out of there for cows that people could come, that trickles on down, trickle effect from all the businesses here. You got, Uncle Bill's, Jake's, the brewery, they're all gonna feel the effect of this. And so it was really good discussion, and good numbers. So that was yesterday, this has been a really busy week of meetings. On Tuesday, there was a few of us, I know Deb and Lou sat in on it. We met with White Mountain Regional, on healthcare, and the CEO over in White Mountain is very excited to try to work with Catron County. And it's there's some paperwork they're gonna have to work with of getting them here. But as of right now, with the insurance they have, like they could start telehealth, we can start moving forward. And so I wanted Lou to weigh in a little bit on that meeting.
Sure, and I know there's a lot of controversy over it, but and most of you who know me know I worked in healthcare a lot of years here in Catron County. And this isn't going to affect the Cowboy Clinic or what we already have here. This is just going to give more options to people who are already going over there. It means that seniors who are going to White Mountain don't have to drive over there. They can either start with the mobile unit, or it gives more options and more opportunities for people so they don't have to drive. This isn't about I don't have the words for it, but this is about giving opportunities, giving people choices with their healthcare, because we don't have any choices right now. We have one choice in Catron County, or in Dattle, there's one there. But this is something that we can help the people in Catron County. You all deserve to choose where you want to receive healthcare. I choose where I want to receive healthcare, and I've been driving out of town to receive it. So for those people who do, they'll be able to receive it here in Catron County. And we're really excited about it, and they're very, very excited to be here. They want to come here. This is a great opportunity, one that we didn't see, and I think it's great for this county. And I've had a lot of good feedback on it as well, because my name is on it.
Thank you, Lou. And also, I wouldn't be in charge of hiring frame, but there's already people that have reached out saying, hey, we're a nurse, or we're this, is there gonna be job opportunities? And so if they can get over here and get established, yes, I think there would. So it's a plus for the county, and I was really excited to hear the enthusiasm of White Mountain wanting to come over here and serve rural New Mexico. Deb was in the meeting. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think it's a great opportunity for the county, to reserve, and just to touch on what you've already said, they were excited. They were, and honestly, thank you. We had members of the hospital board that I facilitated that meeting, so it's very helpful.
Okay, so after that, I did a little bit of a meeting, just one-on-one with NRCS funding. That is gonna happen now, which it's not called range riding anymore, but they have got this cleared, and they think signups will be in October, November, right in there. But starting in 2027, there's gonna be another program to help ranchers mitigate wolf issues, whether they're staying out all night, whether they've got hired help to go ride, but that's coming in the near future. So that's been about 3 years coming, and that was good. We had fair cleanup this weekend. There was a huge turnout of kids and parents and just people that came to help out and get the fairgrounds all ready for fair. That's always a fun time of the year. And it was nice to see all the participation from our youth out working and cleaning the fairgrounds. So being from Luna, our biggest weekend of the year was Luna Pioneer Day. And I see Janice there. Ed, kudos to our community center and rodeo committee. There's not really like a working board, but there were several people that jumped together and made it happen and was really successful. The parade, everything went really good. The other big thing on that I've been dealing with is Luna has a real problem, which is trickling down to Glenwood. That is our water. There's three major of our water sources that are dammed up, and we're absolutely not getting any water, which flowing into the San Francisco and then on down, that's going to affect Glenwood and on down. And so really glad Janice and Ed came today to talk on this and help us out, because we've got to get the ball rolling of how we can mitigate the problems with the water. The other thing is I did go to the uranium meeting, and thank you, Kathy, and everyone that's here. Show up, and it's something we've all got to pay attention to. And I don't think there's anybody in the room that wants to see our water polluted and the things that could happen. With that, there is a lot of things going on in the county that I think for the most part, there's a lot of positive things happening. So that is all I have to report. You guys have anything else to add?
I have something to add about the Luna Rodeo and the dance. I have never seen the state police support the rodeo as they did this year.
Because you haven't been there, Hayden. They're
Holy
always
cow.
there. They're always writing tickets.
Man, oh man, I could not believe you couldn't drive around the corner without one of them giving you the eyeball as you were going by. But everybody was safe, and I'm glad they were there to remind folks, how they how to properly drive. But yeah, I was impressed with
All right, thanks, Steve. All right, with that, we are going to move into the presentation and discussion, and we've got
We do have our federal partners report. So I modified that language because it used to say Forest Service, but our BLM people felt left out. So I modified it to federal partner. On that.
No, we didn't do left out. I turned. Thank you. I tried to come as much as I can, but the drive up here this morning was amazing. Green is.
Pretty green since you've been here last.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna turn this
I
up.
don't know wow. This is refreshing sight. There's still a lot of dead trees though, so early on when we started noticing all the dead trees, we took it upon ourselves to set up some slash pits for both Piketown and Dattle. The Dattle slash pit is about 12 miles southwest on 12 in an old gravel pit. It's fenced now, signed. People are using it a lot. They're moving a lot of slash from around their houses and stuff. Thank you, Deb, for putting that stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, shared both locations, the Dattle and the Pike.
We put map both offices and the guest and I think the Piketown store there. So it's good for people to start getting rid of those trees and being on the lookout for the next fire season, because especially a lot of those folks at Horse Mountain. We are planning a big thinning around Horse Mountain this fall to help with the Louis around subdivision there.
Mechanical thing.
Yes, thinning.
Will it go out for bid?
We'll do a contract. It'll be a contract for a wildland fire service.
Okay.
We did a fuel break there around subdivision years ago, probably before my time, so it's in dire need of it again. We did meet with Deb and Lester a couple weeks ago there in Piketown for a possible transfer of some land south of Piketown there. Just as you come into town, there's like a triangular strip that goes all the way to the east there. Roughly 198 acres, possible transfer under our Recreation and Public Purpose Act. For public purpose, anything we all want to do for community centers, public works, anything. So I know you guys are working on the plan, so. That area is not in any of our grazing allotments, so we've done thinning there. That's a wooey for Bytown, but other than that, I think it'd be a good stroke for the county to have that there in Bytown.
Do you have any plans to initiate salvage permits for all these dead trees? Let folks go out, cut them down, haul them out?
For some of our areas that we've opened up for fuel wood, I mean, they're certainly open to that, but we have been talking about just letting any dead tree, it's pretty good to take standing dead with all this beetle kill. They're just so many trees.
So I'm being told that a lot of the dead trees were suffering because of the drought. The beetles then put an end to them, but those particular trees are very salvageable. There's not a lot of beetle damage in them.
Yeah, they're starting to rot really quick though. They're at Dattle at the campground. We had a tree fall on a camper trailer.
Yeah.
So it's already rotting. They're rotting quick. So,
need to get those salvage permits out quickly.
well, salvage just for firewood. We don't know. There's no timber value. So you're talking salvage.
There could be timber value.
Keep you warm.
Okay.
Group says yes. Yeah, we've never done salvage on peatlands. Certainly, we encourage people to take as much as they want. And report unless there's any questions.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you. No.
Okay, so Deb Muller.
So normally I try to provide you guys a written one. I apologize, it's been nonstop this week. So to touch on a couple things we've been working on. Lou is working with DHPM, which is Homeland Security Emergency Management, and that is for Hardcastle Road ongoing flooding issue that we had. So we have been blessed with water. The flip side of all that water, wonderful water, is road damage, especially for us in some of our hard hit areas. So Hardcastle, so we probably need to consider a special meeting to consider emergency declaration. Okay, so that would be hopefully in the next, yes.
I just want to say that Hampton Road and the Creasville area is also included in what we worked on.
We did have a bid opening for Coyote Creek Fire Department improvement. That remains our one ISO 9 fire station. So we need to commend our fire chiefs for the great job that these guys are doing to improve these scores, because the improvement of the ISO 9, and of course it's backwards, right? So you don't want to be high, the lower the better, has a direct effect on what homeowners pay on for their fire insurance. So the less 9s we have, and Charles is back here, he can probably speak, we have some 3s and 4s and 5s that are basically what we're aiming for right now. So getting Coyote Creek, having those bids, getting those projects really improves the homeowners' insurance rates. So the airport is back open for daylight landing only. So we have some electrical improvements, so that's hindering our nighttime operation landing. We hope to have that addressed probably in the next 10 days or so. So we're working with Navapache.
What's happening with AWAS?
That project is moving forward, so that is good.
It's off a back order?
Yes.
Good.
We had a community center meeting with all of the community centers. Are you guys presidents or chairs? I don't know. Jackie was there. We had Kathy with Glenwood, and it was well attended. So I hope to bring you a modified policy next agenda. You'll see that. And as Audrey mentioned, the SBA meeting with the outfitters, and the great meeting we had with White Mountain. So it's been really, really busy, but I think we've accomplished a lot.
Right, thanks, Deb. So under reports, there's Lily there. She's got her report.
My report could be really bad, but yesterday at the last minute, I got really good news. the governor's office stepped in and told DFA that they cannot enforce making the assessors certify the tax rates. Because that's what they were trying to do. I came personally, which because of the situation with Valencia County, don't you, Adrian?
Possible.
Part of that. But anyway, we got notified the end of July that basically we have 3 weeks to do a certification for the tax rates, which the assessors have never done. We don't create the tax rate. We create the values, we certify the values. Because I think IPRA issues and other issues, they're trying to put this liability to the county level. So the assessors affiliate voted that, because we had 3 options. We could comply, which we couldn't because we don't have the information, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the knowledge, the formulas, the stuff to do that. So that was really not an option. Or we could band together and sue DFA, but then the burden of proof is on us. The other option was we don't comply and let them sue the counties. So all 33 county assessors said, we're not going to comply. So we went to the New Mexico counties and the board of directors, as you'll see in there, passed a resolution. They had meetings with the governor's office, with all the stakeholders, because it also will involve the treasurers. And they gave them basically you can't enforce this. So Sandoval County and Santa Fe County are still looking at going forward with a lawsuit at this point, is my understanding. At some point, we may want to join with that. But for right now, they're requesting a working group between all the stakeholders, the assessors, the treasurers, the people that would be involved in it. And so I think that I have been asked to serve on that working group. I don't know if I'm going to or not, but I have been asked to serve on that because I think we have to work with the FA. I mean, we have to. They also have to work with us. But giving us this in this time frame where, you got 2 weeks and do this, well, we're going to need budgets from every entity that collects taxes. And then if you have cross-county things, like we have Sierra Soil and Water, then I've got to get with Sierra County and do their, big, there is no way the time, and then the yield control formulas. There might be 2 assessors' office in the county that actually completely understand that. I am not one of them. So I'm not doing it. I don't want to hold up the tax bills, but I think with all 33 of us standing together, the state is not going to let them hold up the tax bills. That was my thought. So evidently, governor's office said, no, we're not going to let this happen, but you guys need to work it out. So I don't know where it's going in the future. There is still the possibility of a lawsuit, but I don't think the county needs to take that liability. When you guys approve the tax rates, in all honesty, do you have any clue that they're correct? Other than me eyeballing and saying they look okay, more or less?
We're depending on you.
Yes, well, they want to all depend on us, and that's not our job. We don't even have the statutory authority to do that. So that's kind of where it's at. I've been working very closely with Dave Pato. Dave was enraged, by the way. He was yelling at me, and we're on the same side. So
Sounds like it.
yes. Anyway, so I just want to give you that update. It's going to affect the entire state. But my main concern is my people. And I told him, I said, I would be willing to work with DFA on this so we don't hold up the tax bills, so we don't, affect our people and our entities, the schools and that collect the money from this. But you guys also have to be reasonable, and you can't give us this job when it's not our statutory authority. So, if you have any questions?
Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dave, thanks,
He was on
Dave.
top of it.
He was, yes, very much so.
So I just want to say, Lily, I hope that you'll take part in that group. And I just want to thank you for all the groups and committees you're on and the way that you represent Catron County.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
The board of directors, just a side note, they have an IPRA working group. I just took a call from Joyce Parson, who's the director. What they're looking at, one of the solutions they're looking at for the IPRA situation, which I think is a really, really good one, is to have an oversight committee. So when a sheriff's office gets an IMPRA, let's say that they want to know how many blonde prisoners you've had in the last 6 months, and this guy's from Wisconsin, they send this to the oversight committee and state, basically, we think this is frivolous. And then the state oversight committee could then come back and say, no, you don't have to fulfill that. Because we don't want to take the IMPRA away. That is the only way people have to get government information, which I firmly believe they're entitled to. I think it should be, like I told Buster one time, if you want to come in my office and look, I'll open the drawers for you, go ahead, you know. But not everybody feels that way. And so they stall the IMPRAs and they do this. And so I think, you know, we're blaming these people for frivolous things, but I think to some point we're also at fault for that as well. And then it has turned into the weapon for these out-of-state people that are, like you said, the prisoners, that they have nothing else to do. And so if we can send Catron County a stupid thing and they don't answer, we're at fault. And we've already had 2 that we've had to pay on. And we only have so much coverage through New Mexico County's insurance. So I'm following that one very closely as well.
It's my understanding we have legislative support this year to change the IPRA laws.
Well, and if you notice in your packet, Senator Campos, he was very favorable to the assessors and wrote a letter for us as well. It would be a treasurer's affiliate. Because we do go to a lawsuit, the treasurer's affiliate will be involved as well.
Yeah. Thank you. I can actually bounce off what you're saying real quick. So when we were talking in the treasurer's affiliate, because of this, if there is a lawsuit through Sandoval County, there is a concern that the tax bills will be late. So we were talking about possibly preempting that and asking DFA for extensions prior to prior to the due date, just in case. But that we were talking about that before it came down from the governor. But even if Sandoval County does go ahead and do that lawsuit, that also might affect the tax. Yeah, it might tie all of us, and it may. I mean, it's not just going to be a Catron County thing. Our all of the tax rates or all of the tax bills in all of the counties will end up being late.
And just to let you know, they did send the information to us, and it took myself and Scotty almost a full day to decipher the mess that they sent DFA.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of good blood between the assessors and DFA to start with there. The proposed rates they sent, it was just a mess. I mean, we ended up with last year's rate sheet, comparing it to what, this information they sent, and then another one comparing it to the other information they sent, and they don't match. And so I did talk to Dave. I have done a thing. He actually helped me write a very good letter, which I emailed to DFA, saying, can you explain why the livestock rates are different from one set of information to the other? And they didn't send here's Catron County's information. They sent spreadsheets of every county's information with every taxing entity. So we had to go through and pick out and pull out. And that was, I'm sure, just their little, you can't legislate personalities, but but I do have hope at this point that by the governor's office stepping in and stuff, that we can do a working group and we can keep Sandoval and Santa Fe from preemptively doing a lawsuit.
Thank you.
So all this to get him make Scotty excited about his new position.
Let me tell you what somebody told me the other day. They asked me, they said, how's this going to work with Scotty being your boss? And I said, well, it's not going to be any different. He's just going to have the title because he's already my boss.
Thank you. Okay. We're gonna move into presentation.
Treasurer report.
All right, welcome, and thank you guys for hearing me. So this month, the ending balance from our previous month was $10,815,094.66.
What we have in the bank at the end of July was $11,514,501.91, which gave us a surplus of just under 700,000, which is good because last month we were negative just about 700,000, so it's kind of become a wash. Our investments are going really well. The money market is doing well. Unfortunately, the interest rates are starting to dip. So we are not making as much money off of it as we were even like 3 to 5 months ago.
What's the current interest rate on the money market?
So the current interest on the money market at this point, I believe, when I left today, was at a 3.4.
3.4?
Yeah. And that seems to, last year around this time, you could find things around 4%, maybe even a little 4.5. But unfortunately, I think with tariffs and what's going on in the Middle East, it's definitely on the decline. I think it's gonna just even out and we'll probably stick around this rate. But you never know with the market, it can be a little crazy. Let's see. So that is about what I have. So our total investments at this point, including the First State Bank CDs, the Morton Capital, and the state investment pool, we're rolling around $4,026,663. So we're getting in the money market, we're making about $3,000 to $5,000 a month off of that. So I think that's pretty decent for what we have in there. And we need some cheap ones. Oh, I gave them one already.
You have them?
Hang on.
Back.
Oh. And so other than just business as usual, as I said previously, we are doing the delinquent auction on the 27th. So if you guys know anybody whose family might be on the delinquent list, let them know so they can come in and pay. So it's good to have the word of mouth out there because sometimes people don't even realize. So that will be happening on the 27th, and then we have the audit coming at the end of the month. So we're preparing for that as well. After talking with the auditors, our office is going to be moving to more digital record keeping system rather than having everything on paper. This will make things easier when we can send things to the auditors. And just make it a lot more accessible and searchable. So for things like HIPAAs, we can find that information a lot easier. Currently, we have the current fiscal year all digitized, and we're gonna work backwards for about. This will take a while, but we're gonna work backwards and try to get about 6 years worth of paperwork and. Just to keep that retention. So we'll always have it and we won't ever have to worry about that in an audit hit again. So other than that, I think everything is looking.
What was it previously if it wasn't digital? It wasn't all manual.
Yes, everything is in a file in our filing cabinets. One thing I think we need to look into is so we have a lot of old tax records. We've been having to go through them a lot with the Downwinders program. That program is if you had a family member, I believe between the years of 1952, they had to live here between the years of 1952 and 1960, and if they died of a certain type of cancer because of the nuclear testing over in White Sands. You can get a payout for that. So I've had a lot of people contacting our office asking for records back to the 1950s. And all of those are in these huge binders and they're sitting in the solid waste office because that's really the only place that
we have room to keep them. But if we could get those digitized, because they're starting to fall apart, and, legally, we have to keep those forever for, things like the Downwinders program. So I'm hoping that eventually we can work on getting those, uploaded into a computer and maybe put online, especially the older ones, because, instead of having to call us and then us having to go take, because no joke, these books are about this big. So, we have to take pictures from up high and send them. And after talking with the director of that program, I had to put together a letter basically saying, yes, these are our records. We do know that this is a picture of this very old record. So yeah, we would really like to see those get digitized, but I'm sure that can be put off for a while.
We've been having them too. They've been coming to us also.
Yeah, for the Downwinders program, they're looking for deeds and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you guys ever need any help with that, you can send them up to us and we can look for their tax records.
Okay.
Because I know I mean, you lose a family member to cancer, that's rough to deal with, and they should be compensated for that. And just so everybody knows, it's for the entire state of New Mexico, not just our county. So if you had any family members outside of Catron County that had died from cancer and lived here between those dates, you can call our office, we can get you more information and help you out that way. But other than that, did you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
Sound good? You guys have a good one?
Can we open the doors?
It's a little warm.
I can turn it back on.
Ingenuity is real.
Kathy, before we get into this presentation, is we want a break? Should anybody need a potty break or anything? Is that okay?
I'm
Okay, 'cause we
good.
need I was gonna reset the Zoom so people in the end can hear the audio and take a 10-minute break.
That way we'll try to get it online, because our audio wasn't working, then we got audio going, then the video's not working.
People ask me if it's important.
I'm like, I don't.
We have Zoom. We're just gonna reset it and make sure it's there so that people listening in can hear, so we'll come back at 10. That's it. Let's continue our meeting. Okay, you need the gavel. Hello? All right, let's continue with our meeting. Let's move on into the presentation and discussion with Kathy Knapp.
Commissioners, county manager, and everyone who works to pull this county together, thank you for what you do and for making the time and space to hear us today. I'm Kathy Knapp, retired Pie Baker, Pie Town, now part-time hostess at the Silver Creek Inn in Mobile. I just want to say, anybody who wants to know about the mine, visit our website, protectcatronco.org. You can find the permit application that NovaCorp filed with the Interminerals and Natural Resource Department on July 2nd. It's over 100 pages of pertinent details, but it boils down to profits for their shareholders. I discovered Catron County in 1993 while looking for a place to escape the rat race of Dallas. I purchased 80 acres of raw land in Dattle Canyon, planning to build when I found a way to stay there. I asked my real estate agent about the history of the area and was told to read No Life for a Lady by Agnes Morley Cleveland. Her account of growing up there affirmed I'd found a special place in the American West. When my mother visited from California, she was upset to find a pieless pie town down the road. I traded my precious data land for a defunct trading post and helped her put the pie back in Pie Town. I also traded financial security for making do. As Pop McKee, son of a homesteader from Texas, told me, if newcomers stay here, they trade their money for common sense. A little about our legacy. Thomas B. Catron was a famous attorney and political leader in Santa Fe. He served
as one of the first senators to New Mexico when it achieved statehood in 1912. The man our county is named for was a controversial figure who inspired great respect from some while others found his ethics questionable. So controversy is nothing new to Catron County. We feel strongly about our values. We may not be the same as our neighbors, but that's okay. There's room for all of us here. We're still a frontier. According to the 2020 census, we are 3,500 people, more or less, living in almost 7,000 square miles of ruggedly beautiful landscape shared with wildlife and not much else. That density, about 1 person per 2 square miles, qualifies us as a frontier. I think of frontier people as a kind of gritty, in a good way, independent individuals, willing to sacrifice some creature comforts in exchange for clean drinking water and fresh air, non-negotiable requirements for life that we take for granted. The threat I see. The homepage for the Catron County website says it all. The best kept secret in New Mexico. A mining operation of this type in Dow is counterintuitive to why we live here. It will change our culture and obscure our legacy. It will not benefit us. Many people have contacted me and expressed their concerns about this threat. In less than 2 weeks, we have gathered 500 signatures, more or less, on our petitions. For myself and for them, I asked 2 commissioners to oppose uranium mining in Catron County. Thank you very much.
I've got some to add
Thank you,
as
Cap.
well.
I'm sharing my time with Stanley King, my partner. Thank you.
10 minutes, let me know.
5.
Oh, I got 5. Well, thanks for having us, commissioners and county staff, everybody that came. Appreciate the opportunity to talk. I came to Catron County in 1979, escaping the corporate jungle of the city to experience a more tranquil lifestyle surrounded by nature. The Gila Forest and neighboring Cibola and Apache forests offer some of the most remote and natural preserved setting of our Earth's environment. This is the reason I landed here. Many of us newcomers are here for the same reason. This environment attracts visitors from all around the world. Some stay, many return for the same reason. The sparse population, as Kathy said, vast uninterrupted beauty, the climate, phenomenal, abundant wildlife, dark skies, quiet and general sense of peace are some of the many attributes I offer. At Silver Creek Inn in Mogollon, our last weekend guest from Albuquerque was relieved to find solace here. A ship doctor came from UNM Hospital emergency room who needed rest from stitching up knife and gunshot wounds over the last weekend. Most every visitor to our location comes from the wild and the remote. This asset of Catron County is very valuable and sought after. The outfitters, ranchers, hikers, fishermen, hunters, rock climbers, and lovers of Mother Nature in general congregate here for the same reasons. The balance of making an income for the county and maintaining our precious environment is a tricky business. We all know that. There are many good options to gain the desired results. The extractive industry is not one of them. Not in capital letters. For every attractive feature in our county, the extractive industry takes each one away. When the exploration and mining are done, the mess is left so that USDA, the BLM, the state of New Mexico, the Catron County people, and the private citizens clean up the mess. We've seen this over the years. The track record speaks loud and clear. Uranium exploration and mining comes with many undesirable outcomes. The quantity of U-238 ore required to make fuel for a fission reactor is unimaginably large. I mean, it's huge, millions of tons of this stuff. Okay. The quantity of water required to explore and mine this strata is also unimaginably large. The radon toxicity during exploration or mining is not tenable, and that was also discussed earlier. A dangerous toxicity follows the uranium from the mine to the mill, to the tailings dumps, to the enrichment facilities, to the power plant, to the spent fuel dumps. There it lies, emitting alpha particles for billions of years. Not a good option. Our guests do not come here to experience mining operations, breathe the resulting toxic air, risk an accident with overloaded water trucks on narrow dirt roads, or look up at night sky to see the blinding lights of an otherwise perfectly dark sky. They come here for the elements of wild. This is what makes Catron County special. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a few things to say, if you want to go first. I can go. So I see a whole category of needed information missing from this meeting. I listened, or I attended via Zoom the meeting that we had last week, and it was frankly very frustrating for me. I have 7 years of experience with New Mexico wild, and it's particularly over wild and scenic. And I've seen New Mexico wild at work. Their propaganda, their intentional falsehoods to frighten people, their single-sided, biased look at an environmental situation. I don't have much respect for New Mexico wild, and that's based on experience. And I just pray the same thing doesn't happen here with a potential of uranium mining. There's a possibility of environmental damage. We don't know to what degree that possibility would be. There's a huge potential benefit to the county, but still we don't know exactly what that benefit will be. I mean, I'm hearing things like unimaginable amount of water being needed. Well, I've done some research on uranium mining, and it didn't take that long. And it's not an unimaginable amount of water that's going to be needed. Toxic air with uranium mining? Please. They're pumping water and baking soda into the ground to extract the uranium. What we're looking at right now is potential for testing to see if the uranium is present and it makes sense. What we need to be careful of, in my opinion, it was 4 years ago, there was a premiere of a movie that they presented in Silver City called Fool's Gold. And this was to stop the drilling that's happening right now up in the Mogollon area for silver. And I heard comments that were so outrageously false during that meeting, intentionally trying to scare people, telling people that there was 150 gallons of diesel being dumped in the watershed in Mogollon every day. Absolutely astonishing. I don't want us to end up in a situation like that here. What your concerns are also my concerns. But please, let's educate ourselves on the entire picture, on what the risks truly are. Let's not forget that the test drilling that's going on in Mogollon is permitted. It's watched very, very closely by the federal government and the state. And there hasn't been one issue with what's happening up there. So it is possible to do test drilling to gain information without harming the environment. I just ask, please take the time to educate yourself on both sides of this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to educate myself on your concerns. If you would go to this is a website, cleannm.org. And it talks specifically about the modern techniques of uranium mining. Now, I'm not saying we have to believe everything that's on that website, and we don't have to believe all of the frightening terms that are coming from New Mexico Wild either. I'm sure the truth is going to be somewhere in the middle, and we need to balance this. My request.
Yes. We have a very good example in the state of Mexico about uranium mining. It's right in grants, and it's deadly. I used to work there. I knew a lot of the people that worked
Was that strip mining?
there. It was underground.
Okay. When were they doing this?
Back in the 80s.
In the 80s? Okay.
And I do, like I said, very many people do it. In fact, they still have problems with it because the tailings are still there.
Yeah.
And to even start it here is beyond my comprehension.
Yeah.
Check into it, talk.
I will.
Check into the people in grants.
I promise you I'll do that if you will look into modern mining techniques. Yeah.
I have a question. My name is Barbara McCrimmon from Tomato. I just wanted to know, what do you see as benefits that this mine will do?
You know, as a commissioner, one of our primary requirements for the economic health of Catron County, and I hear what everybody is saying the culture is: wilderness, no roads, right? Catron County's culture is mining, cattle, timber, and recreation. So the potential benefit in my mind is economic benefit to the county and to the citizens that live within the county. And I've got to balance that with the risk. But mining is in our culture. That's what developed Catron County.
Oh, so I have another hand right here.
Yeah, I mean, since I found out about this mine, I've been doing a lot of education on it. And I just don't think economics can ever top poisoning our water. And the New Mexico Department of Justice now is intervening over there with the Apache Reservation where they want to start mining again. Now, yes, these guys are right now asking for a permit for exploration, but exploration is for mining. And most likely, if they do explore, they will probably find it. Our springs that hook to our well are from that area. So the solvents that they'll be injecting into the ground to bind it, to bring out the uranium, that's so funny.
Well, solvents are not going to be used. Solvents, and you're not.
Have you read the permit? The permit has the solvents listed.
I will.
You please do.
I will.
There's our Monica, and then you can be next.
Hayden, since you hit the nail on the head with the word livestock, I have been working with veterinarians in the Grants area over the last 20 years. Are you familiar with the Church Rock area? One of the veterinarians I work with, she is Navajo. She lives on the nation. The Navajo families who live in the Church Rock area and have been there for a couple hundred years or better are not going to move, okay? They have cattle, they have horses, they have sheep and goats. Anybody familiar with this whole situation will tell you, more frequently than not do we see the offsprings of those animals born completely deformed. 9 out of 10 people in that area have cancer. Really? Economic benefit? Ask people who live with that. When I first started working in grants in 2005, I thought it was really bizarre that every household and every business had big water bottles on dispensers. I said, what's wrong here? You don't drink the water from the faucet? And they said, Monica, wait a minute, we forgot to tell you, you cannot drink the water in Grants, Milan, San Mateo, you name it. You are not familiar, Hayden, with what is going on.
Okay, so I'm going to make a request. This is turning into a debate, and I don't want to debate what's right or wrong. I want to request education. I'm going to educate myself on what's happening. It's my reputation. I need to do this for Catron County. And I would ask you to also look at the entire picture, comparing things to the terrible mining techniques that we had in the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. It was awful. Things are changing. And I'm so sorry what happened to our environment and those that lived within it back during those uneducated times. So I don't want to debate this with you. You definitely have wonderful points. I'm going to look at the bigger picture, and I hope all of you can too also.
My name is Milo Aberdeen Silva. I live on 195 Turquoise Trail in Dad. And one quick note I might make. I arrived here with an open mind, but after having heard some of my community members speak about the mine, I have changed against it completely. Mr. Forward, if our culture is partially dictated by mining, is it not too dictated by murder? Eleofego Baca was a killer. Is that not our history as well? And furthermore, is not part of our history freedom from religion? Now, if I might say something about studying the extraction techniques that Subatomic LLC will be employing at the Red Basin mine, they will be employing some new techniques that as of yet have not been tested. Formerly, the owner was Miri LLC of Canada, owned by a man by the name of Thomas Lamb. It seems that they were in quite a rush to sell this mine. The question is, how much can be extracted? And at what cost to us? But again, I implore you, those that think in terms of our history has many regretted days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Yeah. So I work for New Mexico Wild, and I guess maybe I should say something. So you said you're very familiar with us and you've worked with us for 7 years, but you didn't know my name an hour ago, so maybe we haven't worked super closely together.
We haven't.
You mentioned one-sided propaganda and disinformation. I just would be happy to say, I'd be happy to speak with you or anybody in this room, or any of the commissioners, or quite frankly, anybody at all, about anything that you might be referring to. And I'm not entirely sure what you are referring to. And I also would like to say that, the fact that I'm here right now to have this conversation, that I was at the community meeting 2 weeks ago, that I presented at that community meeting, was invited there by a community member, kind of counteracts that narrative that I'm not going to talk to people. Any of the information, the presentation I gave, I'm happy to send you. I'm happy to send you where that information came from. And most of those sources were in the presentation and in the handout that we gave out. And I just want to mention, one final thing. you said that, well, it's gonna be two things. You mentioned the economic health of the area. I really don't think that, uranium contaminated, water table and wells that could be contaminated in perpetuity, is gonna be very good for the economic health of the ranchers in this area. And you also mentioned that test drilling without harming the environment is possible. I'm not sure that's true when test drilling punctures the groundwater when you're looking for radioactive uranium. You know, gold is very different. It's not radioactive. So this is an entirely different type of mine. And I'd be happy to talk with you about any of these issues. I do take issue with the characterization of my informative presentation as propaganda on one side.
Okay.
Thank you. Helen.
Well, that's a while. I'm glad to hear you say that don't want it to be harmful to livestock. I'll write that down on the rules. When he was talking about in Silver City, there were false things said. Now, that being said, this may be a time that I'm working. But did you hear him say he doesn't want it to be harmful to the livestock? It may be harmful to the livestock. Can't use this. Push something. And then push something else. This is something where environmentalists and ranchers and community members, they work together. And it's just like the road in Glenwood, Angus Lane. We gotta look at the whole picture and not come on, like you said, just one side. Thank you. Thank you.
You have anything to say? Oh. No, okay, I'll just be brief. As most of you know that was at the meeting, my family was directly affected because of the draining mines and grants. But I also know that there, as with any industry, there's progress and the things that are different than those things. And I think that no matter what the issue is, I think it's our responsibility to gather as much knowledge on all sides of any subject to try to make an informed decision for any of us. And that's what I will definitely try to do as a commissioner. And I welcome anybody to speak with me and offer your opinion or your facts or your things so that we can have all the information to make the right decision. And then we also have to decide, you know, what we want as a county, because sometimes people want progress and they want more services, but that takes more tax base, that takes more money. And is that what we really want? Do we want a town of 10 or 20,000 in Catron County? Or you know, I mean, people talk about us being at 3,500. Wouldn't hurt my feelings if we had 2,000 people in Catron County. And not that I'm wanting to get rid of anybody, but I'm just saying, we have a certain way of life here. And we have to decide, because it's a balance. It's a balance of what you have, the resources, and then what you're willing to give up to get there, and what you define as progress. And it may not be the most money, and it may not be the most economical benefit for the county. But that's where we have to come to a consensus, and not everybody's going to agree. But hopefully it'll be a place that we'll all be proud of here in Catron County.
Can I make one more comment just
Sure.
about the dark skies? And I just mentioned that briefly. There's literally millions of dollars currently being spent in Pytown astronomy locations. 2 or 3 different aspects of it. Astronomer groups that I know of are getting ready to spend billions and are spending billions of dollars in Catron County for the dark skies. All right. New Mexico state statutes, light pollution, right, has left mining and mineral exploration exempt from lighting. Take that into account. Thanks.
Thank you. So I'll say something. So at the end of the day, like, I'm a cattle rancher, outfitter, like everything of my way of life. I love Catron County, 5th generation, and I want it to stay the same. I don't want to see our waters polluted. I don't want to see our animals having 3 legs and 5 ears. I'm not into that. And I would agree that with Carolyn on this issue, that New Mexico Wild does have a good point on this certain issue, and we can work together on certain issues. Now, I don't know a lot about uranium mining. As I stated in the meeting, I did attend the meeting. I'm still learning. There's a lady, and I still have not gotten a hold of her yet, she's about 90 years old, they tell me, but has lived through all of this. And I want to talk to her. I want to educate myself as well. But I will tell you, if uranium mining could come in and wreck all of our waters and poison everybody, like, I'm not for that at all. But I will say we just have to educate I want to educate myself more, and I will do that. So, Kathy?
Audrey, just to back that up, at our next meeting in Dattle and the sequential meetings, we hope to have experts. We're going to ask the Mining and Minerals Division to come answer specific questions about what they're using, because there's 2 different types of drilling. And when I first asked them, they said, we don't know yet. We haven't finished approving the permit. And I said, when you do, we would like to know. And I'm hoping at our data meeting, one representative, Evan Owens, his project manager, will come and we'll have specific questions and we want specific answers. I've been approached by Novacor. They want to talk to me. I have no interest in hearing them. I would like to hear Mining and Minerals. Ask them, and Mining and Minerals can tell us. I want that interface. Because frankly, I don't trust someone who's for profit. I want our government agents to do their job and ask the questions of the Novacor people and tell us at our next meetings. So whoever has more questions, we're going to get more answers, but it's a learning curve. We need to educate ourselves. This is all new to us. But it's at our best interest to have questions that will help us make decisions. Is this a viable economic thing? Are we safe? Bring it on. If there are risks they can't 100% prove, we're not going to be subject to, I say it's a very dangerous proposition. We're going to find more as we go.
I would agree. And the other thing that I have a hard time with is, and I don't know that this would bring anything to our economy. It's a Canadian-based company coming into the U.S. I don't think they're going to care what they do to our land. They don't live there. They're going to come in, and if that's true, but I want to educate myself. And there's a lot of things about this that have a lot of red flags. So, does anyone else have anything to add to this presentation?
I will say that you received about 8 or 9 letters that were emailed to me over the course of the last week that I have provided both you and to Sharon.
Okay, thank you.
Forgive me, it's my clamorousness, but I would just like to add, for the purposes of research, for anyone that's curious, the Canadian mine, as mentioned, is called Myriad Uranium. It's headed by Thomas Lamb. Simon Clark is the chairman. I believe he's actually made visits to the Red Basin mine in person. Their main geologist is George van der Belt, Vanderwelt. The current owners that have purchased it are an American company called Subatomic LLC, and they're endorsed by 8BC, which is a company owned by a man named Joseph Lonsdale. Joseph, Lonsdale. Look into this man's character and conduct. Other than that, there is Timothy Chillery. Timothy, Chilleri, is the CEO of Subatomic, and their primary mining expert is Paul Goranson. Paul, Goranson. The other company, the recognition of is.
No, go ahead, keep going.
The other company I'll just quickly say is Overreach, which is an intelligent arms company that's trying to make autonomous munitions. They are paired with both 8BC and Subatomic. And they're the ones that are going to be utilizing, as yet, experimented borehole techniques. The names to look forward to that just episode will be Evan Loomis, Evan Loomis, Jordan Blashek. Blashek is spelled Blashek. He is an expert. And Morgan Hitzig, the only lady in the bunch.
Can you please email that or text or let us have a copy of that so that we can have all those names and stuff?
Can you provide me with your email after?
Yes.
Very good.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay.
I wouldn't have gone with the name of Overreach as a company.
Or is it for the last thing that we did?
Yeah.
I thought the letters were gonna be read, and so if they're not, I just wanted to talk about the Roboscopes complex being built in Python for me. The Roboscopes people from the UK, they submitted a letter, they sent me a copy, and they're very excited about the long-term build out. They're starting small, and they looked at 70-some days for remote telescope observing of our night sky from anywhere in the world. And they will be housing people. They'll have cabins so people can sleep overnight and look at our Milky Way, and they'll bring jobs to Python.
So that is one of the letters that you have received, and they are currently building the facility right off of 60 on Highway 603. So that is going to be a several thousand square foot facility.
They sent me a rough sketch. It's going to be in accordance with the landscape, cream-colored, low-profile buildings, no lights, very low impact, no real water usage except for people staying overnight in the cabins. They're very eco-conscious about first, do no harm, and they have facilities in other countries, and they've been searching for something like Pytown. And they're very excited about.
So they did search Pytown specifically for its
The night
dark
sky.
skies, and so their complaint is that this mining operation could hinder that.
Okay, we'll look into that.
You can look at Facebook, Roboscopes, they have pictures of their building site.
Okay. And we'll read, we haven't had a chance to read the letter yet, but we will. So,
And everyone should know that this commission fully supports dark skies and the Cosmic Campground.
okay, thank you. You're gonna move into approval of purchase of roll-off dumpsters for grant K 26-2399 solid waste equipment grant.
Okay, so before you, I
guess we could, people that are leaving, we'll give you a few minutes and that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
We're starting, we skipped A because we already did that on it.
See if ever.
Honest, I'll have my number. Let me give you my number.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so before you today, item B is, it's actually an ICIP funding request, so SCORE for Catron County Solid Waste. So we were granted $150,000 for the roll-off dumpster program from Mark's program there, ICIP funding, and the initial purchase, this is a grant reimbursement, but it is funded by the solid waste dollars, not general fund. And Mark is available if there's any questions.
We need him badly, that's all I can say.
I have no further questions. I motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of purchase vehicle for grant 26K2833. The road. Okay.
Okay. K2.
Yeah,
That's good. It's different.
Yeah, so this before you today is a road funded vehicle purchase, so it will not also come out of general fund dollars. So and this was something we have had for a little bit, but if you remember correctly, the commission office had a grant which we purchased a road vehicle for. So we are going to have a vehicle out of these grant funds that'll be purchased by the road department so that we switched. So there is 4 vehicles that are proposed to be purchased.
And is this something that we pay out and then we get it back?
Right. But it's coming out of road funds because it's road purchase. Okay.
I'll motion we approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item E, approval of purchase of roller for road 2.
You forgot to.
Yeah, which one?
Go to D.
Team.
Okay, sorry.
Good.
Okay, approval of purchase vehicle for ALTSD grant A241517.
That is for a new, hot and cold vehicle for, training with other agency, maybe I'll list to run certified, for recycle, senior student program.
Actually.
It's kind of, yeah, delivery, yeah. You know, it's much needed.
And those.
Your A and T, I think.
Yeah, okay. I motion to approve.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of purchase of roller for road 2.
So Mark, can you speak on the need for the roller?
Well, it's something new, but I have seen it work in Greene County in Arizona, and it works real well. It's like an attachment that fits behind your blade, and as you're blading, you're rolling at the same time. I think.
So it compacts?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And you guys don't have any of those right now?
No,
Does it use any liquid along with the roller?
I don't believe
Okay.
So this would be a test kind of, and then there might be a need for more of these if it produced what we're hoping it does.
May reduce some of our washboarding.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, packs and loose.
Mark,
Get the moisture right, yeah.
I saw them doing this in Wyoming. They also used a roller, but it was dispensing a liquid that hardened on the surface.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Maybe at some point we could look at the cost effectiveness of that. May stop some of the grading requirements.
The maintenance requirements on that stuff you're talking about, I can't figure the magnesium chloride in there. They put on roads, and when they get hard and they're not serviced regularly, they get so rough, like potholes, there's, it's horrible.
So you have looked into it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So, Mark, just one last question. So, just for the sake of time, on the roller and on the Lord Boyd trailer, they would be purchased out of the road.
It's out of capital outlay in the road to work.
Okay.
And the low boys are district free down, they don't have a detachable low boy to maybe haul the iron or to haul a blade or even a D6E, where the other districts do that, so they're always shipping around just like that. They do need one.
Right, happen to go pick up the
Yes,
trailer and then get it back to the district.
They have all, and haul the blade to Rainy Basin and Natural Park and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'd be very.
Okay.
Can I suggest that we put items, E and F together?
Yes.
And I motion to approve items E and F.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So item I, approval of bid award for water storage tank for Coyote Creek Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay, so what this project is phase one of the 50,000 gallon water tank. At this point, Coyote Creek has absolutely no water storage capability at their facility other than a few poly tanks. This will go a long way towards reducing their ISO rating. Right now, they are the last remaining fire district in the county is an ISO 9. With this improvement, they should at least be able to go to an 8 or even a little bit lower. This funding will be used from their fire marshal grant received last year and their fire marshal funding rollover that they currently have. And I know they are in the process of this year's grant cycle applying for phase 2, which will be a pumping station for that water tank.
In the budget.
In the budget.
I'm motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of bid award for CalGuard's New Mexico DOT.
Mr. Chair, I neglected to request in full item J, to table it, if we need to bring a resolution towards the board for. That is what Stan had, notified us of it yesterday.
A motion to table.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item K, consideration of withdrawing $500,000 in CD investments for the Luna and Glenwood grant reimbursement.
Can I take this, Madam Chair?
Sure.
So, I'm looking at the financials on this, and I believe the reason we want to pull it out of a CD is it is earning 3.25 interest. I specifically asked the treasurer what the money market is making right now, and she said it was 3.4. So the money market is currently bringing in a little more interest than the CD. In looking at the math, if we take out 500,000 in the CD that's making 3.25, that's $1,350 a month of interest that we would be losing. And we'll lose that interest for approximately 3 months. That's when the 500,000 should be coming back from some of our other reimbursable grants.
So I've talked to finance, and I'm glad Becky was able to come in. Did you say that AWAS was moved, so we're gonna have some money coming back from that now that that's moving along?
So we have, yes, those projects are moving, but we still have a couple projects that are on hold, which means the anticipated reimbursement is delayed. So those on hold projects are due to outside reasons, right? They both deal with the electric companies. So the AWAS is moving forward, but the electrical infrastructure may not be completed within, say, 3 months. So we'll have half the project completed, but not the, everything. Kind of like the same thing that's going on with our Pilot's Lounge. Right now, it doesn't have the electrical connected because we have issues with Navapache. Up north, we have issues with Socorro Electric with the vehicle charging grant. So those electrical infrastructure issues are delaying the completion of the projects, which means we do not get our full reimbursement within, say, 3 months as anticipated. So those are beyond our control. So yes, some aspects are moving forward, the installation, but the actual completion of the project is still, we don't have a time.
Okay, so how much money do you need to, let's just say we get this money back in 4 months. That way we're giving it longer.
Yeah.
How much money do you need to get you through the 4 months until we start getting money to see that?
So the 350,000. Now, we need to wait and see what the contractor's bid comes in at for the phase 1. It may be less than 350. I don't know, but that's what we're estimating, 350,000.
And does it, sorry, Becky has her hand up.
I just want to ask a question here. It was an instant thought right now. So Deb, on the electric ones that are being delayed, how much time are they delaying it by? Because here's my thought. My thought is that money's sitting there, and if it's going to be delayed and they're not using it right now, why can't we use that, get something funded, and possibly get reimbursement back before the electric picks up?
Because we have to fund those as soon as it becomes available. We can't just, take the funding and put it somewhere else, and then all of a sudden the parts are available or the load test is complete, and then we can't move forward because we have no funds.
So they can't, so the electric can't give us some kind of idea of how long this.
So this is two different electric companies, right?
Right,
We have Navpachi and we have Sephora Electric, and there is no timetable. And both grants would potentially expire at the end of the year. So, and we've extended the AWAS grant probably for 4 years.
And I do have, so I've looked at some figures and stuff, and we do have about $245,000 that was loaned from the general fund at the end of the fiscal year to cover some stuff. However, I wanted it to go back in the general fund immediately, but we could access that $245,000 to help with some of this.
And so that's what I'm getting at, because like on Luna, we don't have, if we had, let's just say 100,000, that would give us enough to at least get the building torn down, start moving that out. That's all gonna take time. I'm trying not to pull our CDs out, is what I'm thinking. Like if we had, with the 245,000 we have, is that enough? If we took 145, Luna took 100, I'm, not that that's the exact number, to get us through 3 months without pulling a CD.
Yeah, I take it out of general fund. Maybe the thing to do, instead of closing out the CD, because that is with First State Bank, we should wait until we get the bid from, it is a state-approved contractor, so we don't need 3 bids. Wait until we get the bid, and then we can pull that money out of the $1 million that we have in the money market. And then put it back into the money market once the work's done in 3 months.
So Becky,
I'm not sure if you all are aware, but I want to make you aware that First State Bank has sold. It is sold to Citizens Bank out of Las Cruces, so they're gonna stay here, they're gonna keep this bank open, but there may be different things happening with cities and stuff like that, just to give you a heads up, because they have sold.
So right now, because I've talked with them just for additional information, it is not the big national Citizen Bank, so it is still locally owned bank. They have a branch in Albuquerque, Las Cruces and stuff. Nothing will be changing. In the near term, and so the branch here is to remain open, and as far as branding and anything else. But I do have a question, Hayden, because you're talking about taking this out and then putting it in another investment structure, right, to gain more interest.
But the CD,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah.
but if we utilize that money, we wouldn't be gaining that interest, that increased interest. And there would be, at least from what I'm seeing, there would be a $8,000 penalty by withdrawing that early. So we would also have to deduct that from possible, increased in proceeds, right?
It shouldn't be a $8,000 penalty. It should be 1 month worth of interest, and that is $1,350.
Okay, so we'll need to get with Kimberly, because I asked her to pull the figures on what it would cost us to withdraw it earlier, and so we need to get that.
That would have been on the 2 million. on all the CDs. It wouldn't have been just on one.
Okay, because that, yeah, the information that she gave was on the 500,000, so she may have made a mistake. We need to double check that,
Yeah.
because the figure she gave me was 8,058.22.
Yes.
So,
Think, wait, since we have 245,000 that we could use if we need, why don't we? It's gonna depend on, because you don't know your bids, but like, I know for Luna's gotta get a building. Like, those people don't even have heat, toilets, our building's a disaster.
Yeah.
But we don't need, probably maybe not even 100,000 right now to get going. And then if you could figure out what you need to get going, but as of today, just pulling out this $500 grant, I don't wanna do it.
Well, what if we do this? If we leave the CD in place, now the money market, we can take money out of it and there is no penalty. So it would cost us, the money market is very close to the 3.25. It would cost us $1,350 a month. So if we pull that money out when the bid comes in, and it takes the contractor 3 months to get it done, that cost to us in lost interest would be $4,050. So to spend the $4,050 for beneficial purposes for the county, and we talked about it last month, that's what this money is here for. It's to use it to benefit projects when we need it. And if we pull it out for 3 months, no penalty, put it back, and it costs us $4,000, I think that's money well spent.
You're planning, but so that's gonna be different than this $500,000 CD that's on the agenda.
yes. So I think the timing, so do you have any idea on the timing of the bid?
It's probably gonna be this week. They were out again, yesterday, or
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So we could at this point in time, we could table this up until the time that the bids come in, we see exactly what's needed. And could discuss that and either approach it the next commission meeting.
Or have a special.
Or if there was a need to, there could be a special meeting.
I think we're planning on a special
We
meeting.
have to have a special meeting for that emergency declaration, so hopefully we get something in time because we need to consider that timing of that meeting. So,
And you have to add in the notice of obligation for the grant, because that's taking at least 2 weeks because of the turnaround, DFA.
So I think honestly, it would be the timing before this.
It would be the next commission.
Yeah.
So in light of all that, I would motion that we table item K.
Well, before we accept that motion to further discussion, could we make the motion that the money can be pulled out of the money market?
I don't know that it's on the agenda correctly for that.
Okay.
Hey, Becky.
Okay.
I will say this, though, I mean, what's important just for everyone to know about. So if you are pulling funds just if you need those funds for operations, right? Then this board has the authority to do that. However, if you're pulling funds and saying, from here and then putting it back into a money market or doing something like that, that takes the treasurer's approval to do, because that would be an investment. That's not just pulling funds for operations. So if you're going to move money around, to LGIP and CDs, money market, that does take, that takes the treasurer's. So that's kind of how it operates.
I thought the board, the commission was in charge of how to spend the money.
Correct. The commission is 100% in charge of, if you need money for operations, then the commission gets to do
But
that.
not for projects.
But
No,
I'm not saying that at all. Investments, if the commission, you're like, well, let's take this money and put it from this money market to this money market. That's an investment, and that takes treasurer's authorization. That takes treasurer and commission authorization.
So Becky has something to say.
Well, this is just my opinion. I think we would probably back me up on this being grants down. I really feel like we need to find a way to make things work. If we have to get together with a meeting or whatever, prioritize whatever and make things work without having to touch any extra money. I mean, it's doable. We might have to start projects in smaller phases, but I'm just, I'll tell you my fear, and it's only because I've seen it happen in the past 12 years that I've worked here, is that I'm afraid that once something gets taken out, it's gonna be hard to get it put back in because we're constantly needing it. So my thing is, I wish we would find a solution to this process as opposed to trying to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's an issue of your decision, but I think we need to address, we have, all of us have inherited a really bad situation from prior years, way back. And, I would just hate to compound the problem, without trying to find a solution for it. That's it. I have a fear of money not getting put back. And I could be totally wrong, but, we're struggling right now to put back the money that came out of the savings because we're not getting reimbursed in a timely manner, which is not our fault. But this happens in grants. You can never predict when you're going to get a reimbursement. As Murphy's Law, something will always happen. And I've witnessed that over the years.
But you will get the reimbursement. That's
Yeah,
wrong.
it will come back, but it may not be as quickly as want. But
Yeah, it may take a month or two longer, who knows?
So there's a motion on the table
Yeah.
to table it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consideration of resolution 07-2027 authorizing the execution and delivery of an amended and restated Colonius Infrastructure Project Loan Grant Agreement for the Mingus Lane roadway and flood prevention improvements project.
So I believe this one's mine also. We voted on it last month to approve the additional funding. Just as a reminder, it's essentially free money to us for 10 years. The loan that we're getting from Colonius, it'll be $250 a month to the commission for 10 years. So
How much is it a month?
250 now. So we approved the funding last month, and this month a resolution is required, correct, Adrian?
That's correct. And just FYI, we will also be discussing this, and, I've had contact with, some of the residents' attorney, and we'll be discussing my conversations with that attorney and executive, and I'll get back to him.
Okay.
Just so that the people, the public knows that I'll be discussing my correspondence with him, with you.
Okay. I request a motion to approve resolution 07-2027.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consideration of resolution 08-2026, accepting the commission of freeholders report and ordering the vacation of a portion of Harriet Ranch Road.
So, Madam Chair, all freeholders did recommend or support vacation.
So that I need to get two for all three.
All three.
Okay.
Sounds like the resolution. Okay, we'll probably just need to table that then until the special meeting. We have to have a resolution.
Isn't the resolution listed here?
It is, but.
It is, but
there's no resolution.
I did not create that.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll contact Harriet's on that and explain to her. And when the special meeting will be?
What's the special?
We haven't discussed a date yet, so, I will, as soon as possible, like, get your guys' call out.
Right. Okay, I motion to table this until the special meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appointment of a commission of freeholders to view certain roads in the Kamado town site for possible vacation.
Okay, so this item is being brought, there is a parcel map kind of reconfiguration going on near the school in Old Town Kamado area. So there is the request, there are road easements that have never been built out, so they are requesting the abandonment. So, this is,
Just where you would appoint, you would just, appoint freeholders to investigate it and then come back with a report.
I'll make the motion, we approve the process.
Do you have freeholders?
Could we use the, well, that would be a Buster question.
Yes. We were trying to get people that were property owners or right there around.
Barbara's on.
Barbara was right there.
Yeah, she's right there.
Let me call Barbara real quick. See if she would be willing to be.
You have two others besides Barbara?
Yes. Can we?
So you could just postpone that till we can, after executive, that'll give you a chance to call Barbara.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we move action item N to after executive.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, direction to manager, read the layoff procedure per personnel policy ordinance 08-2001-14. Doesn't work.
Madam Chair, if the layoff procedure is set forth in section 5.6 of the personnel policy, and so if this board determines that a layoff, layoffs are necessary for a reduction in budget, the county's done this in the past in certain instances, or if, certainly this is not like a global layoff, but, if we were short money and have to, cut employees, but if you're reducing a budget, then you would direct that the manager initiate the layoff procedure, which means the manager then has to follow, let's say you're cutting a position or two positions. Then the manager goes and makes the determinations to implement that procedure, and you go through priorities. The manager would, where you start with a temporary employees first, then a probationary employee, then casual, then part-time, and go through until you get to regular employees, and then so that's how you make the ordinance tells you how to go through and to select the employee if they're all of a similar class, but. So if that's something this board does, then you would make that direction with manager.
Wouldn't they have to go through the elected officials too, that department?
They have complete control over the budget, so that is partially, if you get past priority of the position, right? Then you get down to the individual employees, and then you do, yes, that's something you would consult with the elected official about, saying, all right, if there's someone's two and they're equal, then then you need to have that decision with the elected official, or at least consult.
So what would the motion be, Adrian?
Well, I'm not sure what you guys want to do.
Well, no, so in specificity, like we need to discuss, like in specificity, because this policy ordinance already exists.
Correct. So you have to utilize that ordinance.
Right. But we need to discuss, and we need to discuss with whatever elected officials this would be affecting, and I think that there needs to be, yes, this needs to be tabled, there needs to be discussion and everything before we know what we're approving.
Well, but you certainly, you don't have to, but you want to know, help decide what you're doing.
help me understand, if the policy is already in place and it's been voted on and it's an ordinance, why are we approving it again?
You're not approving a policy. You're deciding whether or not to instruct the manager to implement the policy, and then you need to decide, for what you're doing. Let's say, you're reducing the sheriff's budget by $100,000. So that means somebody in the sheriff's department, is most likely going to, be laid off. You would instruct the manager to implement the layoff procedure for the sheriff's office for the reduction of that $100,000.
Gotcha.
And that way the manager has to go in there and make those choices like probationary, casual, and go down the line. And so that's why the policy lays it out in that, unless it's a specific, like a specific, let's say a specific department, like, well, we're eliminating the, what do you call it, I'm making this up, but the assistant county manager position. All right, well, that's, you're eliminating a specific line item there. But if it's a department with multiple employees, then you have to go through that process. And that's what you have to decide today, is whether you want to give the manager the instruction to do that, or you want to have further communications, whatever you want to do. And so you need to set out what's prompting the layoff, and then give the manager the instructions. That's how the process works.
So, and I don't, Becky, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Is that all right?
No, it's okay. Okay, so Adrian, this is probably for you. If there was a position, I think this is what I was trying to say, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. There was a position that was created for a specific reason, and it was agreed upon for that reason, and then come to find out that that reason is not going to take place anymore. What's the process of that other?
It depends on how the position was created, right? If the position was, a position that is only, that has a job description with something, specific in it, then you would instruct it for that position. That makes it really easy. On the other hand, if, let's say, the commission just gave another position, well, okay, the sheriff needs somebody extra to do more patrols on the north side. So the commission budgets another position for the sheriff's office. No one person is being hired to do patrols on the north side. You have to go through that process. So it depends on how the position is created. Is it a specific position with a specific job duty? Well, that makes it easy. If it's, we're giving you another position because we want you to accomplish this task, then you have to go through the layoff procedure. Either way, you have to go through the layoff procedure. Is more complicated. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So anyway, I don't know why it was listed as this, but I think that this is so I'm gonna say, so that it's on public record. What this is concerning is there was an additional position made for the treasurer's office in lieu of the additional work that would be required for data entry to transition from Triadic to Tyler. And that's what this is particularly concerning. But I think that at this point in time, it needs to be tabled, and that the treasurer needs to be brought in and see if there's a roadmap in transitioning, because the problem is, because of the two different operating systems, it's placing the county in a precarious position, and the commission office cannot transition until the treasurer's office is in transition. But it's a discussion that needs to happen with all the department, with all the elected officials and all the department heads, so that we can come to an agreeable decision there and make sure that the county's running the best it possibly can, and that have our goals to where we're going, where we want to go, and how we're going to get there. So, I mean, at this point in time, I would motion that this be tabled.
I would like to clarify, so the commission office, currently, we do not pay both Tyler and Triadic for the treasury or the commission, right? We
We were at one time.
Correct. And so our offices rely solely on triadic. Okay, so we no longer are paying for both, and that was per discussion when Rick was here. That was the direction provided to us. So, at that point, we did not move forward with any sort of transition. So so this is becoming, it's getting out there now because we want to clean up stuff. We want to be fiscally responsible. If the transition is no longer occurring, we're not paying for both systems. There is no ability for that staff to transfer any information over because they don't have access to this.
I know you all have experienced this like I have. When you give a department a certain amount of employees, when you attempt to take away one of those employees, there's all kinds of pushback. They're all way too busy, right? It's very difficult to pull an employee out of a department. Supervisors are opposed to doing the same amount of work with less employees. It's a natural instinct, but it does happen. Yeah, leave that door open.
I can't hear anything.
Prayers answered.
I'm enjoying it.
I have yet to hear a supervisor say, yeah, I can do that work with less employees, right?
Becky, so can I say something? And I'm not for or against, I'm just giving you the facts of what happened. That fourth position was okay under Joyce Laney when she was treasurer, and it was specifically to enter in the 10-year history that was going to be left out that Tyler could not pull over. So right now, you have triadic, that 10-year history is in triadic. When I was in the treasurer's office, that position was strictly created to manually, because we were gonna have to manually put in that 10-year history. And that was the agreement for the position. So I'm just giving you history.
For discussion.
I already said my piece in motion, and I think that, whether executive session or whatever, I know that Kimberly stated, for billings and stuff, but I would definitely like to have a meeting with Kimberly and determine some long-term goals and see where we're going. I do think, and Becky, and you may be opposed to this, I think it would be better if the county was on one operating system. And I know I've heard the pluses and the minuses and the cons to both operating systems, whether it be, but the thing is we have one person that's touting they got no problem with customer service with Tyler, and then we have another person saying customer service was horrible. So which is the truth? And so all right, he said, but I'm saying things can be worked through, and you have to find out what the truth is. And we have to find out what's going to be best for the county and work towards that goal, or else decide, you know what, every place is staying. So Becky, and then
It's different for different offices because we have different people working with each office when it comes to, if we're on Tyler, we do have the people that work with us in the clerk's office is not the same ones that work in the assessor's office. So there are differences there. And honestly, we don't like Tyler compared to our last people that we had. We would rather be with them, but we want to stay where we can connect with everybody else. So that's why Tyler is with us. It's not because they're so great. They're not that great. But
There's just, there's.
there's that connecting that,
And right now,
that
we have
helps.
issues, treasurers and the assessor's office, because they're on two different
Yes.
operators. It can be overcome, but it's causing issues.
So I just kind of brings to light that, what Tyler does is they buy up smaller companies and then they infuse that into their company. With that being said, Sherry's right. Every department is different. Every department doesn't talk to each other. You don't have the same text that you would. The text in the assessor's office is completely different than the text in the, and it would be the same for treasurer and finance. And it's not that I'm opposed to it. I really don't care one way or the other. I'm the last one on the list. I have to wait till somebody else changes before I can change. But the thing of it is that the treasurer's program that was implemented during the time that we were gonna go with it has now become obsolete. So now they're coming in with new treasurers. So it's the programs do not talk to each other. The programs do not talk to each other, and that's just, but I'm not opposed to it. It would be nice if everybody was on the same program. It really would be. It would be nice if everybody was on the same program.
We have to pay extra for Alex to get into to connect with us. So we're paying extra for that little bit of, so that he can basically use it to cover checking the documents and stuff. Because it's extra. Anytime you want something extra, you're going to pay for it with Tyler. You're not going to get it for free. So any connections, you pay.
And it would be the same for the treasurer's office and the finance. In order for Ken and I to have the accessibility that we would need from each other, we have to pay extra to get that.
True.
Okay. Thank you. So there is a motion on the table. Where's your?
Well, I'm looking at what the intention is of this procedure. And whether or not specifically the commission has the ability to say, hey, this person was hired for this duty, and that person is not doing that specific job description. So
If it's a specific job in a specific job description, yes. If it's just they're giving, the sheriff another deputy, no. Then you have to go through the hierarchy.
So for me, I think it's kind of simple. I'm having trouble seconding the table because it's just a matter of whether or not we have the authority to say we funded this person for that duty. That person isn't doing that duty, so we're pulling back the funding. I think that, we're talking specifically about the Tyler triadic transfer, but there could be other, the person that we want to hire for IPRA. What if IPRA goes away? Right? We should have the authority to say we're pulling back the funding for that.
And you do have the authority to do that. And let's say you created a specific IPRA position. That would be the easy scenario. That would be, we direct the manager to implement the layoff procedure for the IPRA position that was created because we are defunding that position. But on the other hand, if, like I say with my example of we're giving the sheriff another deputy because we want more patrols up in the northern part of the county, and there's no patrols being done in the northern part of the county, if there wasn't a specific position or deputy to patrol northern part of the county, then you go through the steps to find out who is the last in.
So what we're discussing here is whether or not the commission has the authority to pull back the funding if the job description was not filled. And, it's not necessarily what's happening with the treasurer or what could happen with IPRA. It just gives us the ability to pull back funding if the position isn't being filled according to the intent.
You have that authority. Question is, in which manner is it implemented? Is it specific or is it general? Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you. I just think that we need to, I just think that we need to communicate.
Well, we can pass that authority along and say it's, specific, but we're not telling Deb to, pull back the funding. We can have that discussion with the treasurer or with the, sheriff if that ever comes up. It's just allowing the authority. Whether or not we implement it is a different thing, right?
You're telling that you would be telling the manager to begin laying off somebody. That's what you want to do.
Oh, according to this.
That's what you're doing, is telling the manager
to begin the process.
Go start the process of laying somebody off. Now, that still requires a budget adjustment resolution for you to reduce the funding, and then, the ultimate trigger to be pulled. But yeah, that's, in order to begin the process, you have to direct the manager to start it. And so it's up to you whether you think you have enough information, or as Buster said, maybe you want some more information. His board.
No, wait, we can.
There's nothing wrong with discussion. I would be willing to table it to have the discussion.
Then a second.
Yes. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approval of checks and registration.
Motion we approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of payroll.
I motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're going into executive session. Motion and roll call vote for recess regular session and go into executive session that pursuant to New Mexico State Statute. Section 10-15-1, only the following matters will be discussed in closed session. Pending or threatened litigations, Cowboy Clinic mediation, Mingus Lane, Nickel Groups, CCSO, personnel, county manager, real estate, the Luna Ditch.
Have a motion? Are you making the motion?
No, I'm
In motion.
I'll second.
on favor.
Aye.
Aye.
District 1,
Buster Green, aye.
District 2,
Audrey McQueen, aye.
District 3.
Okay, forward, aye.
Time 12:12. 12:12.
All right, so, motion and vote to reconvene regular session,
On motion.
I seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion and roll call vote that matters discussed in closed session were limited to those specified in motion for closure and that no final action was taken as per New Mexico data section 10-15-1.
We have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And what time is it? 2:05. 2:05. Don't you have to call their names? Oh,
Before I kill that fly.
District, sorry.
One.
District 1,
Buster Green, no action taken.
District 2,
Audrey McQueen, no action taken.
District 3.
Leading forward, no action taken.
Okay.
So direction to staff, for the Luna Ditch.
I have a motion, Madam Chair, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
I motion that Commissioner Forward evaluate with Deb Mueller the loss of water runoff above and around Luna Lake. And take action where needed.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. B is direction to staff, Cowboy Clinic mediation.
Madam Chair, I don't think that any formal action is necessary.
Okay. All right, well, then,
And we need to go to Ann. Appointment should bring over. Did you get a hold of that
That was
person?
for Barbara.
Motion or anything in that sense, it's direction, just
Did you get that too?
For which,
for the staff on Cowboy Lane.
no, you all directed mediation last time. I put it on there just in case there was something else, but there's nothing that needs to be done formally. So
Okay.
you already made the action last time.
So did you get a hold of that freeholder, Barbara?
Oh.
I didn't. Okay,
Pending.
Could you read me that last part? The runoff around Luna Lake and
Above and around Luna Lake and recommend action.
recommend action. Okay, thank you.
We just have a slight delay getting the freeholder on hand. Didn't say hello to you, Bella. They going okay?
Yeah, I gotta go to open house and preseason meeting and everything else at the school as soon as I'm done here.
This evening.
Yeah, started at 2, but I'll be late.
Yeah, this has been a long meeting. How much rain did we get?
No, but we got wet going home back
It
down.
was like,
Oh, you have to walk back in it?
No, we got in the car, but just going to the car was just, we got soaked. It was good.
Good.
Do you know the names of the freeholders?
That's what we're getting right. We know 2 of the 3, so we're going to confirm to the third.
This needs, and then I'll get the deal. Okay.
We also need to see if we can choose.
Okay.
Meeting.
Thank you. All right. So it's Amanda McKinley, Gina Baca, and Patty Sheehan are the freeholders. And I will get you emails and numbers.
That emotion.
Okay, so
And what was the last name?
I motion
Patty
that
Sheehan.
Amanda McKinley, Patty Sheehan, and Gina Baca be listed as freeholders on the road vacation for Kamado on the 2 roads.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Before we close, do we want to set a date for the special meeting?
No, we won't, we don't know yet. Not a meeting.
Well, we have to do that one for the emergency declaration as soon as possible because the lieutenant governor is requesting that document ASAP.
Okay, so for a bit.
And
we have election school next week we're leaving Wednesday afternoon. And we'll be on Thursday and Friday.
And the fair is also.
Yeah, the fairs.
Yeah, that fair is we'll be doing.
so the students will probably be the following week then.
I'm okay the week of the 25th. Pretty open.
Did we do it like on the 25th? I have to leave town on the 26th.
Yeah, I'm good with the 25th.
Are we? I don't.
9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
I'm good with any time. 9 o'clock work for you guys?
I'd like 9. You okay with that, Buster?
25th, 9 o'clock.
Special meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday? Yeah.
So whenever I adjourn this meeting, like we can already just mention the next meeting, will be a special meeting on that date. Okay. So the next meeting, next commission meeting, special meeting will be August 25th at 9 a.m. at the fire admin building located at 3 Mountaineer Street, Reserve, New Mexico. And it's 3:12 and this meeting's adjourned.
2:12.
Was it 2:12? Sometimes I think first Friday. Okay, 2:12.
All right,
And it's adjourned.
thank you.